What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And today we're going to be adding a little bit of boost to the TRX. Now, I've had the Camaro for 3 years now and never even thought about doing any power mods, but I've had this thing for about 3 months and for some reason I'm already adding boost. I'm kind of worried that some of the reason is because I went to the drag strip and I want to go a little bit quicker in a big, huge off-road truck. But today we're going to be installing the Ripatuned Incognito lower pulley. And it's kind of the safest, easiest, lowest commitment way of modding your Hellcat power-trained vehicle. We'll run around real quick, look at the part, and then we will get to the shop and start tearing this thing apart. So guys, like I said, this is the whole kit from Ripatuned. We've got our new blower belt, we've got the new accessory belt, and the main thing here is their lower Incognito pulley. And this pulley actually fits over the factory crankshaft pulley, so you don't have to remove any pulleys, and this bolts over new belts, and in theory, you're done. This will typically add 1.5 to 2 pounds of boost to your Hellcat, which is good for 50 to 70 horse, somewhere in there. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing any dyno tune before and after video, but we do have our drag strip passes that we made before this, and we're going to get to run after. Now, it won't be the same day, the temperature will be a little different, the humidity will be different, but we're going to at least have a baseline roughly of what we ran versus what we're going to run. But today, I think I'm just going to be doing the install and doing kind of an initial drive feel. How does the truck feel? So I'm going to jump in the truck, I'm going to head to the shop, we're going to hopefully get this thing on and see what it does. So like I said, this is the lower Incognito pulley, and it kind of gets its name because you are not removing any large parts off the vehicle. You're not having to take the supercharger apart to replace the upper pulley. You're purely just bolting his lower pulley over the factory, putting some new belts on it, and picking up some horsepower. Now we're doing that by spinning the supercharger a little bit quicker. I believe this is a 6% overdrive pulley for the lower. And like I said, in most cases, guys are picking up 1.5 to 2 pounds of boost, and that is supposedly right on the edge of what the factory PCM can account and add for fuel. So in theory, you can run this lower pulley with no additional tune. You can keep the factory tune. You don't have to worry about just blatantly voiding your warranty with an aftermarket tune and having to find a tuner. So this is kind of the first baby steps into modifying your Hellcat. Now, they do sell it as a unpinned or a pinned crankshaft kit. The pinned kit, you are drilling into the edge of your crankshaft pulley and the nose of the crankshaft, and that is a more of a security so you don't spin the crankshaft pulley. Now, in all my research, you're going to find guys talking both ways, but most of the time it looks like if the crank bolt is torqued and installed correctly and you aren't pushing much more power mods with an upper supercharger pulley, you're gonna be pretty safe running just this lower Incognito with it unpinned. And that's what I'm choosing to do because I truly don't have any plans of putting an upper pulley on and changing injectors and making 1,000 horsepower, because I truly do want this thing to be a tow truck, a off-road truck, and apparently we're going to be taking it to the drag strip more often than I thought, but I want it to be dead reliable. And not that you can't have 1,000 horsepower reliable Hellcat, but this thing still needs to tow 6,000 plus pounds of weight multiple times a month. So I really don't want to go stressing it more than I need to with big power goals. So we're going to keep it small. We're going to put the Incognito on and see what we're going to do. Now, one thing I am going to do, we're going to make a couple of hard pulls on the way to put this on. We're going to watch the performance pages and see our max boost. We should be, I believe, around 11 or 12 pounds of boost stock. We're going to replace the pulley and hopefully see 14 pounds of boost. At least from my research, that's what we are going to see. But I can't do any hard launches right now because my fuel gauge is buried into empty and I'll probably run out of fuel before I can even get there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to fill up. We'll do a couple hard pulls, and then we'll get this thing on and go from there. Now, I don't know that I'm gonna do some outrageously detailed install video, because there are a million install videos online of this lower Incognito pulley since it's been out for many years with the Hellcat platform. But I probably have the camera rolling. We'll do our little time-lapse thing so you can kind of at least briefly see what is involved, and then we'll get back out on the road and hopefully see 14 pounds of boost. I don't know, or more than we had before. That's our goal. So let me get some fuel, and we'll do some pulls. All right, guys, so we are getting ready to make our first pull onto the highway here. I'm gonna try to record the boost gauge while trying to accelerate, and we're gonna foot on the floor. Okay, so that looks like the max I ever saw was 10, and then we flickered to 11 for just a brief second. Now, I don't know, you know, with altitude and all of that, but so at least this truck right now, how it is, the current 90 degrees out with 100% humidity, we're doing about 10. Maybe, do you call it 10 and a half? We flickered to 11 once. I don't know. So apparently I'm a little optimistic with my 12 pounds of boost on stock number. This truck looks to be doing right at 10 and flickering to 11 sometimes. So we'll know where we're at wide open throttle before, and then we'll now know we should pick up 1.5 to 2 pounds after the pulley. So let's get this thing on. We'll do a little time lapse on it, and then we'll come back out and see what it does. So I got the lower pulley installed. I didn't really show the reinstallation, but I at least showed removal and you know, bolting that lower pulley on. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more detailed videos on YouTube on the actual install, just a really detailed walkthrough step by step, but following the instructions, it's very straightforward. So I think we're going to do the same thing that we did on the way here, which is roll into it, get a couple of harder wide open throttle runs and see, did we pick up a few pounds of boost? Because that's what we were trying to do. So like I said, again, I'm gonna try to record, drive, do all that. It's a closed road, of course, so. And yeah, that looked like we were holding 11 and flickering to 12 a few times. So it did what it was supposed to do. Like I said, these are supposed to pick up 1.5 to 2 pounds of boost. And yeah, I would say it did its job. And with just the initial acceleration here, it honestly did feel like it picked up a little bit sooner, a little bit harder. And but the instructions do state that you definitely need to give it a few weeks of driving, you know, just for all of the fuel tables to kind of relearn, because they're going to have to add fuel when they previously had already learned what fuel cells or fuel strategy to be in. Again, you are supposed to be able to run this with the factory tune, but the factory tune, the PCM, is going to need a little bit of time to relearn the correct fuel trims. So give us some time. There's some videos online of guys that bolt them on, did a dyno pull before, bolt them on, immediately do a dyno pull after, and only pick up, 50 horsepower or 40 horsepower lower than expected. And supposedly that's because, again, you need to give it a little bit of time to relearn all of the fuel trims, fuel tables, that kind of stuff. So drive the truck as you normally would, get into it as you normally would, and hopefully in a few drive cycles, a week, I don't know what the exact number would be, but the truck will hopefully learn to add a little bit more fuel with that additional boost. But yeah, we had a higher reading than before. This truck at least was, again, around 10 PSI. It would flicker to 11 a few times like we saw, and now I'm holding 11 and flickering to 12 a few times. So we picked up that 1.5, 2, somewhere in there. Don't know how accurate the factory boost gauge is, but we have a bigger number than we did to start with, and that's what we were going for. So I would definitely say it did its thing. Now, of course, without a dyno, it's hard for me, or it's impossible for me to say, oh man, this thing picked up 50 to 70 horsepower. Oh my gosh, go out and buy it. But what is really going to be the determining factor is when we get this thing back out to the drag strip, because we'll have changed nothing else other than adding that little bit of boost. So our 12.7 second 0 to 60 quarter mile time should improve. Now, I have no idea, will it improve by 1/10 or 2/10, or I don't know. I don't want to make any claims because I have no idea, but it should be quicker. It should be some amount quicker. Will it maybe just pick up mile per hour? Will it pick up time? Will it pick up both? No idea, but that's going to be the test. Now, like I said initially, it's not going to be the same day at the drag strip. The temperature is going to be slightly different. The humidity, all of those things which affect time and speed are definitely going to come into play. So it's not going to be a back-to-back test, but it should go quicker with more boost and some more power. So that's how we'll know if this thing really worked or not. So guys, until we can get back out to the drag strip and confirm our additional power, we're just gonna have to rely on the boost gauge to show us that, yeah, we did gain some boost, get some drive time on it, and then we'll get it out to the drag strip again. So guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.